Hello, everyone. Today I will tell you about the most important Procreate settings which will make your work in the application much more convenient. So let's get started. And the first step is we have a canvas setup. Creating a new canvas. Click on the plus in the upper right corner. And here, we can choose the finish size or create your own. If we need to create our own, click on the plus. Here be sure to choose a color profile. Here we choose Profile RGB. This profile is great for display images, for example, on the internet and on the screen. CMYK profile we use for printing. If you, for example, will use your pic, take it to the printing house. For example, there is some kind of postcard to print. Then we use in this profile. In everyone else we use an RGB profile. And sizes, set sizes usually in pixels. For the internet is enough 2000 by 2000 pixels. And size choose 300 dpi. 300 dpi is such a universal value, which allows you to save your picture in good quality. And for example, then calmly increase it 2 times. And the picture quality will not be lost. Here we can name our canvas as you like, and press create. Then we go to the settings menu. Press the wrench. Go to settings. Here the very first we go to gesture control general. And turn off finger drawing. That is, here you should have a gray. Now on the screen, we will only have to draw a pencil. And not your fingers. Press ready. Next press and smooth. This is a mandatory setup, about which many do not know and suffer with drawing. This setting allows you to customize, giving away a pencil and drawing without much pressure, which means it will save your tip and screen. That is, to draw lines. You don't have to press hard. Enough light touch and the pencil is already drawing. Here you need to remember, what is this setting? It is not universal, and everyone suits differently. Here you will need to play and put those settings, which are right for you. Because for example, I draw very softly. I barely touch the screen and I don't need to. Gently tap the screen. That is, the brush should obey me at the slightest touch. If you are used to drawing, crushing more hard on the screen, then accordingly here you will need a little. Lower the curve. Well, that's it, that's the setting. Such a smooth curve is considered universal. Try her. Maybe you will also suit and like it. Further in settings we can set up fast menus with you. Our in-gesture control function. Press here, swipe with 3 fingers. Turn on this tick. Press ready. Now in the feature, to go to the quick menu, just brush 3 fingers and we have a menu. Here is, for example, a new layer, reflect vertically, clear layer and so on. To customize this menu to your needs, just press. And here you already choose what you need. That is, so that for example 20 times do not poke there back and forth. You can just draw something. Quick menu and for example there to reflect vertically. It will reflect your canvas. Further one more very important gesture is stage 2 fingers across the screen. This is cancel action. Not to press here is the cancel button. This is BTW button returns. Action replay. Press with 2 fingers. This is a lovely feature. Everyone gets used to it very much. And when after the tablet you sit down to draw, for example on paper, first time everyone notices. On the paper you press 2 times. Really want. And you press and understand that nothing happens. You think like that to have a renegade happen. What happened? Where is the renegade? Why did nothing cancel? If you tap with 4 fingers across the screen, a quick copy-paste menu appears. Here she be. Copy or do these actions with that layer, which you are on. Or for example click here this icon. You can select something arbitrarily. And for example press 4 fingers and choose. For example there cut and paste. And I cut that part out and pasted on a new layer. Also for example, to choose some color. From the picture yes for example we will see. We will add a picture now. Press add. Insert photo and pressed here it is we have inserted. To choose a color, can we just take a finger? Pipette appears. And here it is the chosen color. Here please. You can choose any color from the image. Switch and use. If you need to switch between the previous color and which did you use? You don't have to climb here in the palette. Yes, and go back somewhere or there poke again on the canvas. Just squeeze here, and it moves between the previous color and the B, which you used. Red and yellow. In this case, for example, pick an eraser. And if you want, the eraser was the same brush, which you were drawing now. You don't have to open the menu, eraser and climb into settings. Just clamp that eraser down enough, and it will erase with the current brush. That's all. By the way, here are these buttons. They adjust the size of the brush, more or less, and its opacity. These settings are available for each brush. Familiar this, when you start drawing, and draw something, and the lines turn out uneven, some flabberies. You seem to draw exactly, and it turns out something clumsy. Now I will show you how to fix this chaos. It works the same with all brushes. We go into brush and here have streamline and stabilization, where we raise the streamline a little and get rid of this trembling line. Here is this feature, smooth the line. That is, now the brush will obey you and draw more smoothly. But if you lift very high, she do be drawing dough, completely smooth, and it will be difficult to draw some jerky lines. See, she is trying to continue and draw. So how does she further, please? So here we raise well by about 10–15%, no more. You can raise stabilization a little bit more, also by 5%. 6, so that the lines are slightly smoothed. Also do not lift it very high. Otherwise it will be uncomfortable to draw later. And be sure to press ready. So you can do it with absolutely any brush. Adjust it to your taste. Here in Daddy Textures there are all sorts of different brushes. You can try to indulge. Here apply different textures. There are, for example, I really like dry ink. This is a brush many draw. This is the texture, leaves the texture like this. And many people use it when they draw. For example, there are any character illustrations, children's illustrations. Add such texture. Generally look at the brushes, which are in standard sets. And play raise, something you will 100% like here. And then you can try to search other suitable brushes for you. And brushes can be downloaded on various sites. There are a lot of free sets. There's also a lot of paid sets. But do not rush to immediately take paid. Look for free. Maybe that's where something you'll really like right there. And you will be enough. And maybe it will be enough at all that set of brushes, which is here. You will only use them. Some artists draw like that, with their 3 brushes, roughly speaking. Pencil, dry ink and round brush. Don't use anything anymore. Here's the next feature, which I wanted to show you, is a quick fill. For fast fill you need to use a brush, which is not textured, which creates a smooth outline. The contour must necessarily be completely filled. Closed, there should be no gaps. Clamp the circle and pull. And everything is fast pouring. Figure behind flooded with color. It can be used for absolutely any figure. It doesn't have to be some right square there. A triangle is like that. The main thing is that there are closed contours and everything. Because if the contour is not closed, then it will turn out like this. Also here I will immediately show the function fast figures. I will take this color, and for example pencil 6B. Take to get an even triangle. Drew, squeezed your finger across the screen. Triangle ready. Here you can fix it, triangle. So once again, squeezed ready. Quadrilateral. Triangle broken can already be. When you press correct, for example by points. If you need a not quite even triangle, and some here, such for example, yes. Or if you need to draw the same square, drew squeezed. And square ready. Very convenient to not draw something there on your own. And don't sit long over it. Guides can also be used for convenience. This is how the guide was pressed. Choose to rule the guide. And here we can choose the grid size, which we need, opacity, and for example symmetry can be selected. This if something we need to draw symmetrically. For example, yes, pressed ready. Here it says binding appeared. It means that the lines will be tied, and for example we draw something on one side, it turns out symmetrically on the other. Very comfortable to draw. Exactly, here are some symmetrical pictures. To then not suffer. is ready. Also in the guide can. Drawing with binding included. Ready, and now all lines. We'll go strictly by guides. You can't spend it there any other way. Only by guides. Here. For example, you need to outline yes. Cage here, please. Fast, even lines. Like this to disable this feature. Turn off guides and everything. Drawing with binding also disable. Now let's look at the layers. Layers are very comfortable. They organize your work. Layers, for example, you can swap places. Like this for example. You can draw something here now. Yes, that's the kind of heart we had. Can be duplicated. And you can group like this. So that, for example, in this group you have only one hearts. To you're comfortable. Immediately they can be turned off and turned on. Layers have overlay functions. Opacity functions. That is, for example, out now. Regular mode. I filled it. Black. And for example, let it be pink. Here we have two colors. How overlay modes work. Here's more of this top. This is function like. Layers overlay each other and how they are displayed. It's here. You can also configure the opacity of this blending mode. And most often to denote the shadows we'll draw. Here on layer with multiplication overlay mode. Light can be diffused light or, for example, add. But if you draw in feature add, then you need to reduce opacity. It's going to be really bright. But the scattered light, well, quite the same thing. In general, here you need to focus on your drawing and what you want to achieve next. Is very cool features at layers. This is, for example, the alpha channel block. So choose the alpha channel block. And now I can't draw outside this heart. He does not give me. I can only draw within this heart. But don't forget, what here I draw right on the heart. To keep the heart intact. And make some changes later. Have a cool feature, which is called clipping mask. Creating a new layer. And here again, we draw only within the boundaries of the heart. But it's drawn on a new layer. That is, we can safely undo these changes and we will have our heart untouched. Drew didn't like it. Removed without any consequences. I really love clipping masks and use them very often. And there is still a cool feature. This is, for example, a palette. Yes, you can create your palette. For example, you chose the colors with which you will draw. This color, you decided that you will draw them. In the palette menu, click here he added. Choose their next color sum. This decided what you will draw. Look to her. Fit here added. And create your own color palette. Like this. And is added. And further, you will no longer have to wander somewhere to look for something. Immediately go to the palette and draw. You can also make a palette out of an image. Go to the palette menu, click on the plus. Create from photo. Choose photo, from which we want to create, and all our palette is ready. We can use it, and draw with these colors. It's very comfortable. For example, when you found a picture that likes colors, and not to take a finger every color. You can just here, take and make a palette from this photo. Also, you can always leave the drawing process. To then, for example, show the rest and make some video there. Go to settings, wrench video. And here recording a time-lapse video. Here we play it and see. It is saved video process, you can unload it. Export time-lapse video. You will keep it and will. Your gallery is displayed. But don't forget that this feature additionally eats up your memory. That is, if there is little memory on the tablet, then you will need to save, unload somewhere and then delete. Also, your layer can block. and nothing can be done on it. For example, you drew something. You understand that you will not use this layer anymore. And you block him, so as not to accidentally put any action on it there. That's all the most basic settings and features. For comfortable work in Procreate. Be sure to practice, experiment, and don't be afraid to try new things. And thanks for watching, and before new meetings, bye bye.